This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to this edition of the panel on LairMedia.tv, and thanks to everybody for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us. And you'll never know what will come up in the program. Good evening, Lillian, Burke, and welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening, Tony Browne, and welcome.
Might need
Good
to
evening
open
to
your
you
camera,
too.
Lillian.
Good evening, Mary, and welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Now, we generally pick out a few topics, but sometimes we stray away from the topics. And one of the topics that was, I suppose, in vogue, so to speak, in the last week or so is the playing of national anthems at soccer matches. Now, at the recent match between the Republic of Ireland and England, there was, I suppose, it wasn't very well received, the English national anthem in Lansdowne Road. And there was a lot of talk about it afterwards in the media, as one would do so. And I thought it was a slightly over the top, the Irish booing, but I mean, people boo national anthems all around the world for different reasons. You need only look at past internationals between England and Germany, for instance, and the horrific song they sing at those matches is, I won't say a joy to behold, but not very nice. Tony, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I really don't know what you thought. When I heard it on the radio, I didn't see them. I wouldn't have any interest in watching soccer.
Yeah, I know that.
But soccer people, they're a kind of a different breed. I mean, you wouldn't get any messing as rugby matches now, for example, or a GA. But soccer matches are always kind of rowdy, as far as I'm concerned, anyway.
Yeah.
Because a friend of mine, Frank Hogan, used to have the sign John 37, and he wouldn't go to soccer matches. He'd go to rugby matches, he'd go to GA matches.
Yeah, I saw the sign, yeah.
He wouldn't go to soccer matches, you know. He said they were always very rowdy, which they are. But as regards the national anthem, it's a pity. I blame the GA as well now. They don't stand to attention when the national anthem is on, which is a pity. And they start cheering before it even finishes.
Yes.
Then, of course, an awful lot of them don't even know the words of the national anthem anyway.
No,
they can't even sing it, which is a pity. It's a pity that happens. But as regards to the weekend, I only heard on the radio.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a match on, to be honest with you. But I heard it on the radio on Monday. They were discussing on different programs I was listening to, because I listen to everything and anything. And but like that, I had it been discussed. Anyway.
And then did you learn the national anthem now when you go to school? Like myself and Tony's generation, we all had to learn the national anthem.
No, I didn't, Pat. Sorry. I didn't learn the national anthem to go to school. No.
Oh, I did. We all had to learn it.
No, I did not. And I hadn't the Bull's notion what it was. All I knew, even at the end of it, I always thought the last two words were chasing Connie around the fields. That's all I knew about the end of it. And to start with, Sheena Fina Fall, that's all I knew. You know, I was never taught to go to school.
I don't remember learning this in school at all.
Yeah.
So if it was ever on television, I wouldn't be able to even sing along to it, you know.
Yes, yes. And Mary, what about you? I know you know Oran Levine off by heart. I often heard you singing.
Well, I don't know any of Oran Levine at all because I just don't know any of it, and I don't think it should be our anthem. I personally think it should be a nation once again.
Written by Melloman, Thomas Davis.
And it's a more inclusive song in the sense that it's one that is of hope, and it's in English that everybody can sing. But getting back to the subject on hand, I was simply appalled at the carry on at the match. I was so incensed. I've seldom been that angry at anything, having been, I suppose, both sides of my family are either English or Irish, and I felt there was no need for it. The Irish have been renowned the world over as some of the best fans in the world. I mean, you go back to the 1990s World Cup, they were a joy to see the way they carried themselves. and they've hosted many matches between Ireland and England, and that has never happened. And it just seems to have been one small group of people in the ground, but very vociferous, and and I just couldn't believe that that people beside them didn't give them one good thump and put them out, because it was just terrible. It really showed
Well,
showed the
there's
game.
there's always a residue of opposition to God Save, which was the Queen.
But it's about politics that should be outside of sport.
Well,
And
unfortunately, when it comes to Ireland and England, you'll always get that. You'll always get a pocket of that, no matter where the match is on. Whether it's on in Wembley or Ladsdowne Road.
all these fans will go to England at the weekend and other weekends supporting the very same players playing for Man U, Man City, Liverpool, and all these other teams. And they'll go, they're looking for a job.
But God Save the King isn't played at Liverpool matches or Everton matches or Arsenal matches or anything like that. The God Save the King isn't played at those matches. It's a totally different kettle of fish. So you wouldn't get the same. And there's a huge Irish connection with a lot of Premiership clubs anyway, Irish traditional people playing soccer over there. But I don't know what the solution is. The solution is maybe people might grow out of it. I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know. I mean, there was no problem now. Last night, Ireland were playing Greece in the second match in the group in the Nations Cup, and there wasn't any problem with national anthems. It's just Ireland and Greece. There isn't that history between them,
What's the friendly match mean? Did they go out and shake hands before the match?
Yeah, friendly matches. There's nothing at stake. There's no. It's an out of competition match. It's
But surely they're all the same. It's the same whether they're inside the competition. It's the same match, is it?
No, they don't. They don't progress or anything.
Well, a friendly international can be a time for the managers of both teams to try out new players in the game, see are they up to standard and all that. You can't do that in a competitive match, But Ireland were beaten again last night, 2-0, and they were beaten by England 2-0. England won last night against Finland in the group, so we're bottom of the pile. But things might get better, I don't know. But national anthems, I suppose in GA and in the GA it'll be different. There's a different respect and different attitude to the national anthem because we're playing against our own, in those games, like Cork and Clare or Cork and Limerick. They're playing against their own, so they'd be brought up with that tradition, so they wouldn't be the same booing or anything like that,
While we're on that subject, could there be a referendum as to decide whether to change the national anthem to a nation?
I mean, you could certainly. I think a nation once again is a good song. Is a good words in it, and a lot of people know the song and everything. Although some people might want Sean South from Gary Owen as our national anthem.
Oh, no. Oh, you need something rousing, and you need something hopeful, and you need something that doesn't mention harking back to war or anything like that, or militarization. You need something that's Lillian's gone. But you need hopeful.
You'd wonder, but there'll never be a referendum. That's never happened,
What about the Wild Colonial Boy, Tony? Would that be a good old song?
But he was a different fella altogether, they discovered. He wasn't even from Castlemaine, that's terrible rubbish,
When you think of the four greatest anthems in the world, for me, would probably be the Welsh, the Russian, the
French,
the Russian, the French, and the Hatikva.
The North Korean.
The Hatikva from Israel.
The North Korean national anthem is a beautiful piece of music.
Well, I told them they seem to go on forever. I forget now what the national anthem is. But there's one I told them they go on for 15 verses. It's like the Song of How We Feel. It goes on for 32 verses. That you kind of wonder. Some of the national anthems in are, oh God, they're terrible. You hear some crazy ones. In South America now, they have some crazy ones.
And
Venezuela or Bolivia, one of them, you know, the kind of
yeah,
funny.
I like the North Korean one. You can Google it now for all your listeners there. The North Korean national anthem. It's a beautiful piece of music in itself, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
anyway, you know, it's
No,
There's
good.
a man singing Kim Un or whatever his name is.
Kim is the main man there. Kim.
There's
Sundung or
nothing.
something. That's his
There's
name. The fellow with the
nothing.
funny haircut.
There's nothing will compare to listening to a crowd of Welsh rugby supporters singing the Welsh national anthem. Nothing. The hairs would stand on your head.
It's
On my
good.
head as well.
Well,
Yeah.
Wonder.
Yeah.
There's a few
And-
hairs I have in my head with this.
Yeah.
I was listening to it now the next time and see where the hairs stand up in my head.
The Welsh national anthem is, of course, they have a huge tradition of male voice choirs in Wales. So there you go, you know. But
That's how they have them choirs. There's nothing else to be doing over there.
I suppose
It's
we
in
agree
Wales.
that national anthem should be respected somewhat anyway, you know. But there is a different dynamic in play between England and
Anyway.
Ireland. So we have to understand the history of that as well, you know.
Anyway, our Taoiseach was out in Croatia, not Croatia, the other place last week.
Ukraine. Yeah.
He went out to give him support, you know.
Well, he was talking to Zelensky, and he was saying, if your soldiers ever need anywhere to park your bikes, we've built a new shed for bicycles, and you're welcome to park your bikes in the new shed.
Do you know what's appalling about and I know it's not here in Ireland and it's UK politics, but they're taking the pension from the old age pension, not the pension from the old age pensioners, but the fuel allowance from the old age pensioners, miserable amount of money, and they've now committed to giving Ukraine another 600 million.
There you go.
Fuel allowance from the pensioners. It
But
won't
they're
be
not
long
really
before
taking away the fuel allowance. It's going to be means tested, which it should be really. I'd agree with it being means tested.
Yeah, I agree, Tony, but they haven't reduced it to half. They haven't means tested it to half the people in the country. They've means tested it to about 200,000 people, which is just completely short of the amount of people who actually need it. And of course, there are old age pensioners who are wealthy, who don't need it. But there's not 3/4 of the pensioners in the United Kingdom who are above the means level.
Since you brought that up, I think that at the moment Fine Gael are having an ease up in Tullamore Court Hotel at our expense. They're having a meeting at our expense, don't you know? And they'll be considering things for the upcoming jamboree or the upcoming budget, but they call the budget, we call it jamboree. But I think every time you hear when they talk about Ireland, they say we're a very wealthy country. We could easily give the pensioners on the state pension €100 a week of a lift up. They could easily give it when you look at the finances of the country. If they wanted to do it, they could easily do it.
Could that's an awful lot of money, Pat. €100.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Everybody will get that, and that's unfair. That's like the money they gave out for the gas last year, the electricity. I know one man told me he didn't even need it. He didn't want it, and still he took it. I mean, that's not unfair.
You're just talking about the odd person. The vast majority of people need it, and we're very happy to get it. The same with the pension. The vast majority of people, a sizable majority of the 444,000 people on state pension at the moment. There's not a lot of people.
Why don't they means test it?
No, there are 444,000 on the pension. They could easily give them €100 a week to ease the burden that it's on them with the cost of living crisis we're on. Giving people credit for their electricity is going straight into the profits of the companies that are supplying the power to us. It does nothing long term for you and I. Nothing. It's given straight to the company, and it's on. You don't have any benefit except you might be putting in an extra 40 or 50 euro into your meter for your power. So I don't know. Just going to take a break, lads, and take a bit of crack here.
Did you say?
Dougal, look.
I am Chinese, if you please. Come on, Dougal, lighten up. Dougal, there were Chinese people there.
All right, yeah.
I mean, what is... I mean...
That's the Inn family. They're living over there in that old Chinatown area.
Chinatown there. There's a Chinatown on Craggy Island. Dougal, I wouldn't have done a Chinaman impression if I'd known there was going to be a Chinaman there to see me doing a Chinaman impression.
Why not, Ted?
Because it's racist. They'll think I'm a racist. I'm going to have to catch up with them and explain I'm not a racist.
Hello there, Father.
Hello, Colm. Out and about?
I am. Same as yourself.
Good.
I hear you're a racist now, Father.
What?
How did you get interested in that type of thing?
Who said I'm a racist?
Everyone's saying it, Father. Should we all be racist now? What's the official line the church is taking on this?
Oh, no.
Only the farm takes up most of the day, and at night I just like a cup of tea. I mightn't be able to devote myself full-time to the old racism.
Good for you, Father.
What? Oh, Mrs. Carberry.
Good for you, Father. Well, someone had the guts to stand up to them at last. Coming over here, taking our jobs and our women, and acting like they own the second place. Well done, Father. Good for you. Good for you. I'd like a second. Second Greeks.
It isn't the Greeks, it's the Chinese he's after.
I'm not after the Chinese.
I don't care who we get so long as I can have a go at the Greeks. They invented gayness.
Look, we're not having a go at anybody. I am not a racist, all right? God.
Begging Greeks.
How's Mary?
She's fine. She got that job after.
Great.
Go on.
No, seriously, I can't.
Go on.
Well, that was another one of probably the best Irish comedy that was ever shown on television, Father Ted, and we like to cheer people up. Were you a fan of it, Lillian, Father Ted, when it was on?
I was, yeah. I used to watch it as often as I could. It was a great show.
Awesome. Brilliant. What do you think of it, Mary?
It's hard to. I never watched it. I never watched it. I used to just see clips on TV. It used to irritate me at the time because it was just like, I don't know. And I just never watched it. But to see Frank, what's his name? Frank.
Dermot Morgan.
Yeah, no, but Frank Kelly and Dermot Morgan both dead now. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that anyone else could be Father Ted except. Was he Father Ted or was he Father?
He was Father Ted, was Dermot Morgan. Dougal was good. What do you think of it, Tony? Did you like it?
Ardal O'Hanlon.
It showed you how young he was there now, Ardal O'Hanlon. He was on the other night now on television. He was doing a trip around the islands. It's a great series, actually.
Yeah.
But it showed you how old he is now. Towards what he looked in that. He's fairly young.
He
And
always
because
kind of looks young though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
he
He always kind of looks young.
Yeah.
He does. He had that boyish look about him all the time, you know. But that was a great series. Just so sad that that passed on. Now, Frank Kelly, of course, had a huge long career, way before Father Ted, you know. He was a veteran of Ballymegash, Tony, the Ballymegash Urban Council. Remember him with that?
I do. That was funny, you know.
Oh, weekly.
But a lot of politicians didn't like that series, you see.
Oh, no, they did not. Especially
No.
the 1973 to 1977.
It was all about what goes on as council meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go out to the what you call it here in Limerick, out to the
Oh, I've been on it.
it's pretty much the same thing. It's still the same, still shouting and roaring and fellas telling fellas to sit down and they're not in my party and I'm in your party. That's all rubbish, That still goes on. I've went to a few council meetings and it's a terrible cardiology.
For people who like that kind of thing, their website, both Limerick County Council and Clare County Council, the meetings of the full council meetings in County Clare are up on their website, so people can go up to the council.
Don't go, you see. It's like the courthouse. People don't realise you can go down to hear court cases.
Yeah.
And just go in and stand at the back and listen to some of the rubbish that goes on in the courthouses. And to hear that some of the guards, most of them would be on phones anyway while they're sitting there. There's nothing else to be doing. They have a day off for it.
Well, I have a theory about how courts. They're only the only ones appearing in court are poor people. That's how you get in court. Poor people.
Yeah.
Who are down in their luck.
Pat, would you think that Ballymagash was the Irish, I suppose, 1970s, 1960s, was it 1970s, 60s version of Yes Minister?
Yeah, it sometimes it had a bit of it all right. They had the Minister for Gate Posts and Signs. That was Conor Cruz O'Brien of Posts and Telegraphs. The Minister for
a take or an insult at the way the governments were run or the councils were run.
It's still the same.
Yeah, it is. Very little has changed in the country, right, Tony? Very little has changed. That was the 1973 to 1977 coalition.
What's his name? I remember he didn't like it. I maintain he lost votes or Richie Ryan. Do you remember he was supposed to be the minister?
Richie Ryan was called Richie Roon. Minister of Finance, yeah. That's very good.
Minister for Hardship.
Tony, would you go to many council meetings?
Did I what?
Tony, would you go to many council meetings?
Council meetings, I went to lots of them. Council meetings. And I was the only one there sometimes. The only spectator, let's say.
Yeah.
At the meetings. The only one in the gallery.
He was the Waldorf minus the Statler.
I'm not interested in going, really, I suppose, It's a pity. Schools should be brought to these things. And they should be brought to the courthouse. Let them see what's going on.
They should, yeah.
People don't realise they can go in and sit down.
Well,
it's a pity.
You're watching their media here with Tony, Lillian, Mary, and myself on a program called The Panel. Tell all your friends about us. And the information is on the bottom of the screen there, our email and phone number and contact details are there. And tell all your friends about us. And press the red button on the right hand side to subscribe to our channel. Now, the next topic we're looking at, there was a decision of the European Court during the week whereby the underpayment of corporation tax, the case against Apple, was won by the state, and we are in for a windfall of, I think, 13 billion euro, which will come into our accounts by next summer. Yeah. So this government won't have the pleasure, or the new government come in will have a 13 billion pound euro extra. Now, the question, of course, on everybody's lips is, how are we going to spend it? There's no doubt it will be spent. Will it be spent wisely? We don't know. Will it be thrown into a few black holes? I don't know. I hope not.
Might get a few more bicycle sheds.
Well, Tony, what do you think it should be spent on?
It's very difficult to say at the moment now, Pat. It's a lot of money. The only thing I can't figure out is, if you pay by, no, I don't have a banker's card, but if you do pay by banker's card, the money's taken out of your account straight away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas, how is it the money's taking so long to come? Is it coming by carrier pigeon? Like, why isn't it there already?
Yes, I'll just give one example of what I think. Paperwork.
What paperwork is there if you want to pay a bill tomorrow with something? You can do it straight away.
No,
But they know the money is due.
yeah.
It should have been paid. And now they're afraid of companies will invest in the country, other American companies.
I thought myself that the money was already lodged in a separate account because of the lost
It was, and it is.
of transferring it from A to B. I don't know.
Tony, I think the days are gone now when people should be held, our governments, and I agree with you. They would be afraid that other American companies will actually pull out because of it. But the days are gone when we should be held over a barrel because governments should threaten to actually pull out if they don't get.
We are at over a barrel. There's so many American companies in the country now.
They should be investing but they could be investing in small indigenous businesses.
They're not interested. They're not interested.
That's what they should be doing, and trying and encouraging people to hire staff, Irish people or indigenous people to hire their own staff and keep people in this country. Instead of everyone leaving the country because there's no jobs.
Yeah. Well, the Irish people are leaving. Most of them are leaving to go to Australia.
Exactly.
The best for younger people to go, but like that, it's not happening. I saw a little trousers the other day now, and it was made in India. A child's trouser. I mean, we used to make those in the clothing factory. All that is gone. Nobody's interested anymore in getting anything made in this country, which is a pity.
It's a sad say. I remember there was a tailor almost in every village. The village I grew up in, there was a tailor down the road who catered to all the parishes around him, and he was just fantastic. You just go in, and I remember we being measured up for our confirmation clothes. He'd take the measurements, and that's it. And he had a book with all the accounts and the whole lot. And
but people aren't interested. You go into any big shop, big stores in town, and look, see where the goods are made. You know, they're either made in Bangladesh, they're made in China, and it's a pity. How do the Americans do the same? All the American stuff now, I know there's, I've seen stuff belong to, what's your man, the polo fella, I can't give his name, Lauren. All his stuff was made in Honduras.
Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren, yeah. Honduras. And it's a pity really that you see stuff.
In sweatshops, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, yeah. It is.
But we had basket makers here in Limerick as well. And
people
we had
are willing to stand by it.
Well, the clothes industry is terrible for the conditions that the suppliers of their fabrics, particularly stores like Pennies, and I'm saying out Pennies and cheap clothes. I mean, if I can buy a T-shirt in Pennies for €3 or $3.50, can the people making that T-shirt must be only getting 5p?
But you see, they have the usual thing that our costs in this country are enormous as well.
Yeah.
Although I can't understand how the chemical companies will always make money. They're fine. It's the computer companies should wonder what is going to happen to them. I mean, look what happened outside with Dell when Dell went. It's amazing. If there's another company, I was saying the other on the television last week, I can't think now where they are, and they're closing down. Oh, Tullamore, there's somebody in Tullamore closing down. And if they go, all the other jobs that go with it as well.
There's 200.
You could see the demise of Dell long before it happened. I worked in Dell. I worked in Dell for 4 years. And the amount of people, and I loved every minute of it, but the amount of people in Limerick who were employed in Dell, I said it over and over again, if this company closes, God help people in this city. Because
wasn't there another computer company before Dell? Wang company.
But Dell had nearly everyone in Limerick hired.
Wang, a friend of mine used to work there. Wang had a massive workforce.
Right. There was another one. I can't think of the other one. There was another computer company as well.
There was
out in Castletroy.
They just folded up their tent and went away. Good luck.
All gone. So what happened with Crops? I remember when Crops was a huge employer. And Crops, people were buying goods from Crops.
We were not long in the EEC when the demise of our indigenous manufacturing companies started to fold up. I remember my dad worked for nearly 40 years in the Irish Sugar Company. I mean, they were an incredible loss to the country.
Huge, yeah. So we had 4 sugar factories, and they're gone before them.
Mallow, Carlow, Thurles and Tuam, and they were fantastic for employment. I mean, we worked there in the summertime. We worked there during the high season. The wages were very good. The farmers, there was little shops sprung off as supplying to the shop. There was a lot of services around the sugar company. I mean, the sugar company in Mallow, where it was, it's just a derelict site now, there's nothing there. And it's just a shame when you drive down past it. It's just a shame it gives.
But Dell was there during the Tiger economy, Pat, and people were buying houses, and they were buying huge brand new cars, and they had holiday homes. And I knew of building contractors who were saying that the people working for them, the laborers on the sites, had summer homes abroad, and they were saying, well, they surely can't be getting it on the wages I'm paying them, and buying all of these. But what was happening was they were borrowing because you had the Tiger economy, you had places like Dell, both members of the family and maybe their children all working in Dell. And, you know, you could see that if Dell ever left, the whole thing was going to crash down on top of many families, entire families.
I know.
But that could happen to any factory. It's amazing that even the only ones that are secure really are the most of them are in Cork anyway. Most of the what you call it, the tablet makers and those, they'll last. Shearing Plough, some of these big companies that will always last, producing tablets and that.
Pfizer's in Cork, big employer. There's a huge.
Whites in Newcastle and outside Niskeaton. People say about that, they're scaling that down now. Whites.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people working there.
There's a lot of big companies in Cork, a lot of big chemical companies around Cork, you know, and they're giving huge, massive employment. And we just hope it'll continue, but we should concentrate on our own indigenous industry and build up Irish industry. But it's more or less.
It's late now, you know. It's late in the day now.
Fords in Cork. Fords in Cork. Remember Fords in Cork at Sunbeam Woods and all them? They're from bygone year. Now we're going to take another break, guys, here on the panel. And thank you for listening and watching us during the week. And tell all your friends about us.
He stopped breathing. Who knows gob to gob? You know, mutton hole to mutton hole.
No one goes near that boy till the ambulance comes. Any physical contact violates our school's no-touch policy.
Let's quickly prod him to the curb with this pool skimmer.
Good thinking. Death to Homer!
At least we'll always have Beowulf.
That's not us.
Oh, no!
Credenza? Credenza? Low boy? Sideboard? Portmanteau?
Ooh, can I cuff him?
Sure, why not?
Chief, come on, he's not trained.
Oh, who are you, the rules police?
No, we are the police. Nobody moves or the doughboy gets popped.
Take your hands off my brother from another mother. Let's get out of here.
Dad!
Boy, you little life-saving, heaven-can-waiting!
Ooh, you know, Marge, if you want to sell calendars, I'm going to need to see more Babe and less Didrikson Zacharias.
Fine, I'll take off one glove.
You know what would look super good? If you held this glass of red wine.
I love this wine.
Yeah, it's Andalusian.
Well, it seems real to me.
Avery, I swear, you're the only man in Gothamopolis who's never seen Every Man.
Well, one thing's for sure. I'm not every man.
Cut!
Oh, we love you.
Woohoo!
Go!
Good news, children. Everyone did well on this test except Lisa Simpson.
An F? Okay, this is the time when I always wake up. Come on, alarm clock, get me out of this!
Sorry, Lisa. This F is all too real.
No, it's not, Dream Hoover. And as long as I'm asleep, I'm gonna have some fun. I can fly!
There's a few clips from The Simpsons, which is running about nearly 25 years, I believe. But the astonishing thing is, many of those voices are done by one man. I saw him being interviewed. You know, he does multiple voices on The Simpsons, and it's for a cartoon, which it is.
There's about 10 or 12 different episodes there, all mixed into one.
Yeah, little scenes, and it's very hard to get. I was looking online on YouTube for like the one for Taylor's Fine, you get snippets, but in The Simpsons, the shortest clips we could find are 10 and 12 minutes, and you couldn't play it. It's like
Earl Jones, who died the other day, he was a voice in The Simpsons.
Yeah,
apparently, and I didn't actually know that.
Who?
James
Earl Jones.
I did not know voices. His most famous one is the Lion King.
No, I suppose his most famous one was Darth Vader in Star Wars.
But children would remember him now as the Lion in Lion King.
What a magnificent voice.
I didn't realise he had made a film on the life of Jack Johnson. I must try and get it somewhere now, you know, because he was Jack Johnson himself was the first black heavyweight champion of the world, and obviously he came along at the turn of the century when being black in America was very challenging. But anyway, he was a larger than life character, Jack Johnson. That is, I'd like to see the film, you know. What's The Simpsons, or homage to The Simpsons, who are indeed still
Tony's favourite program.
We just move on to another little topic we have here. Presidential debates. I know I'm a bit tired because I stayed up to watch most of the debate last night between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, and it wasn't a great event, to be quite honest. It never really took off because simply because it was in an antiseptic setting. There was no people in the studio. There was just the two debate people and the two moderators. It was very, very cold place, you know.
What about the thing he said about the people eating their pets, Trump?
Well, people will be looking at this program after, you know. They should look up you can look up the newspapers reports online if you get a chance. In Springfield, Illinois is one town. You can look it up there, look up the police reports, and you can make up your own mind about the veracity of the claim, you know. But I suppose, you know, the debate anyway was...
I think Donald Trump kind of lost it there. He kind of lost his argument, he lost his standing when he started to talk about the cats and the dogs.
Well, look, Lillian, the way I look on it is, you've only, as Pat says, to actually look up, it's all over the internet now. All of the videos, all of the arrests of the police arresting people.
You have to look at it now with an open mind. You shouldn't take one side. You shouldn't take any sides. I wouldn't take any sides.
It's not a matter of taking sides, Tony. If you do your research, you'll find out that
I wouldn't be interested. I wouldn't have time to go looking up and stuff. I wouldn't have time to
comment on something if you haven't done your research.
Your own cats could be in trouble there, you know, the cats that talk to every day.
Oh no, my poor cats are out in the back.
Yeah.
They're out back there. But I mean, just something. I thought Kamala Harris came over very well. I thought, you know.
I thought she did well myself. Yeah,
very good.
You
know, whenever to talk now, she's a good speaker. You know.
Yeah, it was our first debate, and we'll see how it goes. It hasn't made a dent. It's a very tight race. It's going to be neck and neck.
What's her name? Made up a good thing now. She says the country. Well, the one she thinks she's a country singer. What's her name? She'd up a thing with her cat anyway. I think she's about 28 million followers. What's her name? The one that was in Dublin. I can't think of her name. She thinks she's a country singer anyway. But I don't think she's a country singer.
Beyonce?
No.
Frances Black?
Taylor Swift?
No. Frances Black, I'm on about America.
Taylor Swift?
Taylor Swift. She did a good thing now with her cat. Straight away. And she
I
wants
certainly wouldn't want to know.
million followers she has.
Well, you don't care who she has following. They're all children of 11 and 12. They can't even
Yeah,
vote.
about Taylor Swift's endorsement.
85% of her followers can't vote. So, I mean, really, she's a bit of an airhead herself, anyway. I mean, she's a clown.
Most of her followers are European.
But most of them are they're not at an age
They're
where they can
underage
vote.
as well. They wouldn't
They
be the
can't
right
vote
right
anyway, most of them. So,
I'm trying to get into the country kick, all right. You mentioned her there, Beyonce, and the Country Music Association, anyway, want nothing got to do with her new LP.
Oh,
I like her song. I like her song.
She tried to jump into the country scene, you know. And
I liked her country version.
Is she married to that crackpot? Daddy Doe, Diddy? What's his name?
she wouldn't know country music come in the window.
You know who Beyonce's married to. What's his name?
Yeah, I know. It's a pity, you know.
P. Diddy.
What's his name?
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy.
Yeah, lovely. Anyway, move away from them anyway. All that kind of music. I wouldn't, well, it's even music, you know. I have a name for it
She's
now.
a great singer, Tony.
What?
Beyonce is a great singer.
She'll just stick to her own type of music, jumping
She's
around
a
the place.
phenomenal singer.
Turn
Phenomenal
off for your range, you know.
And did your daughter not buy you a ticket for Taylor Swift?
What about her?
Did she not buy you a ticket for Taylor Swift?
I can't. I know what you're saying, but what about Taylor Swift?
Did your daughter not buy you a ticket for Taylor Swift?
No, she has tickets. One of them has tickets bought for Oasis. She
Oh
got
my
them
God.
already. She got them last week. Now, I wouldn't be that interested in Oasis myself now.
No,
But, I
don't
don't,
need my cup of tea at all, you know.
Noel Gallagher is a good musician now, all right. He's a
Very
brilliant
good.
musician, you know. But that's next August. That is.
They're
Next
great
year.
composers, though. They compose.
Rocky Hutton, who promised us next August, you know, you'd kind of wonder. So far away. Anyway.
They composed great music.
Well, their media is the program, and the panel is the name of the show, and the information is there if you want to vent about anything, or if you want to see a tip or anything, let us know, and we will help you along the way.
You know what, Nigel? Thank God you've arrived. He could bore you two with it now.
What's that?
Trigger's got a medal.
Oh, yeah. Where'd you find that then, Trick?
No, I was awarded it. Look. It's a picture of me receiving my medal from Councillor Murray. See? That's me.
Oh, that's you. Well, I'm glad you cleared that up. Here, have a look at that minute, Trick, will you? Oh, right. So that's that Councillor Murray, is it? She's the old cow that refused my application for a council grant. I've been so humiliated in my life.
Derek, when you have the time, you must tell me all about it.
Hey, how do you mean some of your friends down at the Masonic Lodge have got influence in the town hall?
No. It's just that I've often wondered what it must be like to apply for a council grant.
The day started off so well, didn't it?
It's Councillor Murray's idea. She's head of finance and facilities at the town hall, and she says that local people should be rewarded for services to the community. A proud moment in my family's history. Trigger, you haven't got a family history. You were created by a chemical spillage at a germ warfare factory somewhere off the Deptford High. Maybe, but I still feel proud.
So what exactly is the award for?
For saving the council money. I happened to mention to her one day that I've had the same broom for the last 20 years. She was very impressed and said, have a medal. 20 years. That's a long time, Dave.
Yeah? Well, that's 2 decades, isn't it?
I wouldn't go that far, but it's
Treat, just a second. If you've had that broom for 20 years, have you actually swept any roads with it?
Well, of course. But I look after it well. We have an old saying that's been handed down by generations of road sweepers. Look after your broom.
Did your broom look after
No, Dave. It's just look after your broom.
Well, that I'll say.
Yeah. And that's what I've done. I've maintained it for 20 years. This old broom has had 17 new heads and 14 new handles in its time.
How the hell can it be the same bloody broom then?
Well, here's a picture of it. What more proof do you need?
No income tax, no VAT, no money back, no guarantee. Black or white, rich or poor.
Well, there we are, Only Fools and Horses. Tony, did you like that show?
Never saw it. I wouldn't have any interest in that. I wouldn't have anything, these Cockney accents now wouldn't interest me one bit.
Yeah. Well, the characters in it, when you get to know the characters, like the two of them there, I think they've passed on now. The two lads.
The two lads are passed on, Trigger and the other guy. But yeah, but oh Lord.
Did you like that? Did you like the Only Fools and Horses, Lillian?
She can't. She's frozen.
She can't. So it's frozen. Is it? Yeah, that happened.
The frozen, but I thought it was one of the best British comedies of. I mean, to me, there's nothing like British comedies, and I don't like American comedies, but except probably for a few of them, and I never really liked Irish comedies. Some things from Father Ted are good. But to me, I don't think you can compare British comedy with anyone. They just seem to have that. I don't know what it is.
Yes, Minister was brilliant.
Minister was brilliant.
Well written,
To the manner born, keeping up appearances.
Yeah.
Good life.
Good life for me as well, Now we have another topic here. I suppose. I think it's 10 years since Robin Williams died, lads, is it? It's over 10 years.
That's right.
Another fella couldn't stick either out as Robin Williams.
I was
acting the fool himself and that Jim Carrey. They couldn't be normal and talk. They have to be acting the fool while they're talking.
It was manic.
Depression, Tony. That was depression with Robin Williams.
One of the topics we have now is the topic of loneliness. And Robin Williams had a quotation about you cannot fake depression, but you can fake about looking normal and being well.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hated being himself. That's why he was always on. He was always performing, even in an interview.
Yeah. And he did. He was. It was very sad. The end of his life was very, very sad. And there are many people. There are many people around me, living around me. Not around me. No, not my neighbours. Just in Shannon. I'm sure we all know them in Limerick as well, where you live, Mary. There are people who are very, very lonely.
How do you know this, Pat? How do you get talking to these people? It's very hard.
I was going to say, Tony, since the demise of the corner shop, we'll say the corner shop where you go in and you met Joe and Mickey and John and all, that is gone. So people are forced to go into supermarkets now, and the only contact they might have during that day is the physical contact of the checkout person. And even that now is being taken away from them when they're putting in the automatic checkouts. And sometimes people may not see a human being from one end of the week to the next, or not even converse with them from one end of the week to the next. And that is where society has gone. Yeah. And it's desperate. It's desperate for people. We were at.
You go into the bank as well, Pat. Yeah. Someone will come over and ask, "Are you all right?" And try and guide you away to use a pay machine. Yeah. So you're being guided away again from having a conversation with another human being. So there are people who could go the entire week without speaking to a soul. And you often find with people who are depressed and lonely, they don't really want people to tell them what to do or how to get over it. They just want people to listen to them.
Yeah.
But there are people there now that wouldn't even know their own neighbours. They wouldn't be interested even in talking to neighbours. Living alongside them. I mean, I know so many now that I said, you know what? No, I don't. I said, why don't you? Why don't you talk to them?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're not going out during the day, people and that. Younger people even, they're not going out and meeting their neighbours. They couldn't tell you who's living across in houses. You
Yeah,
know,
we were at a conference there last year, Mary. That girl from Newmarket who ran it in the old 2 Mile Inn.
Yeah.
No, the Clarion. Sorry, the Clarion. I know it's gone out. Drummond Inn.
Ian of Drummond.
Drummond. Yeah. But there was a lot of men. A lot of men were at the conference, which was good to see. A lot of bachelor farmers, you know, who never got married, obviously, because they're bachelors, because of their working the farm, and they might be the last member of the family left on the farm, and they've had their Jewish to. But there's a huge rate of suicide in that cohort of people, and after listening to some of their desperately sad stories, I can only say, I am not surprised that there's a high suicide rate amongst in the countryside, and in the countryside generally as well. And a lot of it begins with this loneliness. Loneliness. A lot of the
you know, but I've little sympathy now for some of them because they're not interested in mixing. A lot of people are not. They won't go anywhere on their own. They don't get involved in anything. You know, any association. There's so many things out there they could get involved in. Some of them are getting their pensions paid into accounts, so they don't have to go to the post office anymore. And that was a handy thing for them to go as well. I met a woman who said that to me. She likes to go down for her pension, and she meets people. Whereas if you were getting a pension paid into an account, you wouldn't meet anybody in the post office. They wouldn't even know what the post office are, some of them, where they're collected.
It's very difficult for women to go places on their own. Certainly in this day and age. Certainly in this day and age. I mean, men can go pretty much anywhere. They can go to football matches. They can go to the pub. It may seem very old-fashioned of me, but you really wouldn't see women getting dressed up and going off to the pub on their own, or going off to a football match or a rugby match or anything like that on their own.
Friends, women should have friends.
Yeah, but when you reach a certain age, most of your friends are married and they have their own lives. And their lives are wrapped around their husbands and their children. And who could believe that?
But I noticed myself since I retired, I have more time to walk around, and as the man said, I have more time to be nosy as well. But anyway, let's be honest about it. But I noticed on a Friday, what we call Pension Day in Shannon Town anyway, that the coffee shop, the local coffee shops are full in the morning.
Yeah.
And I can tell you one thing, lads, they're full of women. Chatting to each other. There's not the sign of a man around, not the sign of a male around. And that struck me forcibly. I was speaking to two of the women now, because I know them very well. And they said, we encourage people. Even there's a very active retirement, a very active senior group in Shannon. And they said, there isn't a man within sight of it, Aldi. Not a man. They can't get men to talk. Now, as against that, there is a men's shed in Shannon, which is good. I was at an exhibition before Christmas, an exhibition that they had participated in painting classes, and a lot of them had produced some lovely prints for it. They had the exhibition in the local library, so that's a positive thing. But you know, there are very few outlets for people to casually meet and chat to people, you know. And people need help. They don't need to be told what to do. They need to be brought or gently persuaded to go to something, or as you said, to participate in something.
But some people, Pat, just don't want to be. They just want someone to listen to them. I mean, people say, especially after someone has died, I just didn't know what to say to him. I couldn't go over. I couldn't say hello because I didn't know what to say to him. Well, sometimes people don't want you to say anything. They simply just want you to acknowledge their grief, to acknowledge their loneliness and say, look, I'm here if you want to talk. I can't give you advice, but I can listen. You know, I mean, listening is a phenomenally difficult art for people, but it's the most important.
But as Tony says, you can live in an estate, you can live around people, and you don't know who your neighbours are. It's
what Tony said.
It's a total change from the year when we grew up, where neighbours minded children, kept the watch out, and kept the lookout for people. Oh, I didn't see so and so for a couple of days. I think I might call down and see if they are all right. Small things like that.
I'm telling you, they won't even go into houses. People haven't been ever inside in some of their neighbours' houses even. Just I've been in everyone's house around here. I'm the only one that talks to the whole place. And I go into people's houses. That wouldn't trouble me. But there are people out there wouldn't go near neighbours' houses. Wouldn't go over to talk to them at the door. I would.
We're going to cheer ourselves up now on another note.
I suppose the origin of this criticism is its rumour about another big scandal in the city.
How did you guess? Oh, Humphrey, I've decided to respond to all this criticism about a scandal in the city. The press is demanding action.
What are you proposing to do?
I shall appoint someone.
And when did you take this momentous decision?
Today, when I read the papers.
But when did you first think of it?
Today, when I read the papers.
And for how long, may I ask, did you weigh the pros and cons of this decision?
Not long. I decided to be decisive.
Prime Minister, if I may say, I think you worry too much about what the papers say.
Only a civil servant could have made that remark, Bernard. I have to worry about them, particularly with the party conference coming up. These rumours of a scandal just won't go away, you know.
Well, let's not worry about it until it becomes something more than a rumour. I'd just like to show you the cabinet agenda.
No, not just now. Humphrey, this is rather more important.
With respect, Prime Minister, it is not. The only way to understand the press is to remember that they pander to their readers' prejudices.
Don't tell me about the press. I know exactly who reads the papers. The Daily Mirror is read by people who think they run the country. The Guardian is read by people who think they ought to run the country. The Times is read by the people who actually do run the country. The Daily Mail is read by the wives of the people who run the country. The Financial Times is read by people who own the country. The Morning Star is read by people who think the country ought to be run by another country. And the Daily Telegraph is read by people who think it is.
And Prime Minister, what about the people who read The Sun?
Sun readers don't care who runs the country as long as she's got big tits.
At least that was true what he said there about the newspapers now. Because I'm a firm believer in you can tell somebody's intelligence from the paper they read. I do believe that. If you see somebody reading The Sun or The Mirror or one of those,
you're such a snob. You're such a snob.
That you need.
I know the postman delivers you The Sun every morning, do they?
Jeez, I wouldn't even handle it, not to mind to read it. I never have. I don't buy papers, but except the only thing I'd read is the Weekly now, or the Times. I would, if I got it, which has gone too dear now. And the Times is an intelligent. They've good people that write articles anyway for them, Whereas the stuff.
I mean, I'd go over to the library and read the paper, but I buy the Sunday Post on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that write in the Post. I like their style of writing, and I like their point of view.
Yeah.
I never buy the Sunday Independent. Never buy.
Yeah. The editor now is a Limerick man of the Sunday Independent. That's you'd want to. He wouldn't want to hear you saying that now. I met him 2 weeks ago.
I know the Sunday Independent, in my opinion, is just a step above a red top.
Would you think so?
Yeah.
I never really buy Sunday papers now. And of course, the Sunday Times, you'd want 6 weeks to read it. There's so many.
And I don't know, the Independent has the same viewpoint all the time.
My wife often buys the Sunday Independent now. Not
Yeah.
every Sunday was. So I think she buys now as a Sunday Independent. She
Yeah.
would read it for about 2 days. But that you'd wonder. But the Limerick Leader's okay, and if you want something local, you know, at least it's on the Leader. And I brought what's his name out on Monday night now. I brought the Rabbit man, Nick Rabbits, out to Skeeton on Monday night.
Yeah.
There was a festival on in Skeeton the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
He was there. I wasn't there on Sunday. I missed, but he was there on Sunday. Rabbits was. He was doing something for the Leader. She's out today, I think. Some article he's writing about Skeeton. So.
And what was the festival? Was it a local community festival?
It's 750 odd years of the founding of Skeeton. And there was an extra Friday night and Saturday. There was a tour there Saturday morning. And they had another parade in on Sunday, which I wasn't that interested in a parade for the children. And then Monday night there were these people back from Australia whose people left outside of Skeeton. They went to live in Adelaide about 1870. And diaries, which are very interesting, on what happened when they arrived in Adelaide, and about there's one of them came back to live in the Skeeton again afterwards. It's very interesting. Actually, one thing I learned, he said in one of the diaries the people have done that one of the first things they did in the house in Adelaide, they spread sand on the kitchen floor. So I said to myself, I wonder why they did that, you know, had you no tarpaulin or no line or anything.
Yeah.
But why they did it was, when they got up in the morning, they didn't know if there were snakes in the house during the night.
Oh, yeah, they'd have seen the tracks in them. Yeah.
Snakes they'd stay downstairs and they didn't know if there were snakes. That's
Did
hilarious.
you tell them the snakes we have in Ireland have 2 legs?
There's an animal above the doll. Anyway, they should put sand above the floor in the doll to see many snakes will go in. But he was right now about when they first went to Adelaide, about in the 1870s, you know. It was a really, what can I say, miserable place, which it isn't now. Although we don't hear much about Adelaide. We hear about
Adelaide before it's all Perth and Melbourne.
Oh, I remember flying over Adelaide. I do. You know, you could see it below, and but it's not very big. But it's kind of in between Melbourne and Perth, but it's a long way from both of them. But we hear about Melbourne, we hear about Sydney, and we hear about Perth, but we wouldn't hear much about Adelaide. Although he said there was a good Irish community there. His mother, this fellow was giving the talk, his mother was with him. She was 80, I think she was 89. She was with him the other night, back from here to hear Australian accents when she was talking, you know.
And as people know, Tony is part and parcel of the Limerick Historical Society, and some program organised for our.
We'll have one last outing now in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, but we'll go to lectures then from October again, back from October till next April again, if we're all around, you know.
The lectures will be held in the Unitarian Church, is it?
Yeah, once a week we have them in the old Methodist Church in O'Connell Street. The White House pub there, you know.
Yeah.
A good membership now we have. That's something people should be involved in as well, rather than sitting at home looking at Google or looking at gawking at the television or something. You need to be involved in something.
And what type of lectures?
People aren't necessarily not involved in something when they're at home. I mean,
you need something to occupy the mind. I know 2 people that ended up with Alzheimer's, just coincidence, and both of them had no interest in anything. They couldn't, and they ended up with Alzheimer's. You need something to keep the mind up.
Maybe people are writing at home, and maybe they're writing writers. Maybe they're creating websites from home.
Not if they're over 60. When you're over 60,
a lot of people work from home. I mean, I know a friend of mine who creates websites all the time, and he does it from home. And
what age is he?
It doesn't. When you're creating something, you're keeping your mind occupied. No matter what age you are, if you're creating, it's the greatest thing you can do. To be sitting at home watching television all the time is the worst thing. What you to
I'm
be
looking
either.
at Facebook all the time.
You need to be either.
Tony, I think a good topic, a good historical topic for you now to sponsor in this series, if you're not all booked up, is the Irish state and its what I say, relationship with Nazis in Ireland after the Second World War and what they did to facilitate them.
Say that to facilitate who?
The Nazis during World War.
Nazis, well-known Nazis and killers from the Third Reich, who they harbored.
They're all dead.
No,
But they're all buried here in Ireland, and they were all given great jobs in this country.
the history of it.
I know that, but you're going back too far now. You're going back into the
Well,
war.
you have to watch what happened in the past in order to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because if people don't know that these things happened, they're not able to recognize them when they're happening again in front of their eyes.
Oh, chalk it down.
It's a different. It mightn't be, say, gypsies or Jews or gays. Like it was then, it could be a completely different group of people that are targeted this time, but it's the same level of hate and the same and the same preparedness to actually protect the.
You can't prepare yourself for anything like that, unfortunately. You know, you just don't know.
You can be aware of the signals.
We've gone away.
Some said he's friendly with Putin anyway, and he's going to make changes with him.
Sure,
Can
you have to be friendly. You have to have dialogue with the enemy in order to create peace. You cannot alienate yourself.
The American state since the Second World War has killed more human beings on this planet than any other country.
Absolutely.
Than any other country. And there's very little, there's only lip service paid to it.
There was only 4 years where there wasn't any war, really.
But it's still a great country.
4 years. A fantastic country. It's a magnificent country, but it's been involved in so many wars and so many overthrow of government, and all for oil or for gas or for.
We're gone away over time, guys.
No way. We have to go home, will we? And whether Panel picked us up on that note tonight. Can we not? You should have some way that we can get a few questions in from people. There must be questions out there.
We could do it live.
Yeah,
I think we could do it live. We might go live next week, but I'll send it to Patsy myself. I'll send them the program.
If people want to ask questions, we can address them each week on the show.
Oh yeah, well, we can't get questions because there are people out there, I'm sure they're watching. They're like, well, take me to task or take somebody to task. You know.
If we were to go live with it, they could ask the questions.
We'll probably go live next week. But
I'm live now, aren't I? I'm live now. Am I live here?
Yeah, we're recording it. So from this edition of the panel, from Tony, Mary, and myself, and from Lillian, we hope to see you next week. Tell all your friends about us.
End up with the video.
Good night, lads, and take care. This is Lair Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.